Norwegian police are investigating claims by Anders Behring Breivik that he has 2 more cells working with him. Gold futures climbed to a record $1,624.30 US an ounce as US lawmakers failed to reach an agreement on raising the federal debt limit, boosting demand for the metal as a heaven investment. US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton praised Indonesia's success in not only sharing ASEAN to achieve its goals, but also in leading Asia Pacific toward a peaceful resolution of conflicts during regional meeting last week. Update the news around the world with Nirasha Malisak-Lamia and Pasurang Desha Putharangsi in Asean Newsroom.
Good morning and welcome to Asean Newsroom. You're watching us live from Bangkok and today is Tuesday, July 26, 2011. You're with me, Nirasha Malisak-Lamia.
And I'm Pasurang Desha Putharangsi. Well, Norwegian police are investigating claims by Anders Behring Breivik, who has admitted carrying out Friday's twin attacks in Norway, that he has 2 more cells working with him. Mr. Breivik made the claim as he attended his first court hearing following the bombing in Oslo and a massacre on an island youth camp. Police have now revised down the island killings to 68, but increased the bomb death toll by 1 to 8. Mr. Breivik was held for 8 weeks. Oslo police asked for Mr. Breivik to be held in full isolation for the first 4 weeks. Judge Kim Hager agreed, saying Mr. Breivik could not receive letters or have visitors except for his lawyer. Judge Hager said police must be able to proceed with the investigation into Mr. Breivik's claims without the accused being able to interfere. Mr. Breivik had earlier said he had acted alone. Well, he has been charged under the criminal law for acts of terrorism. The charges include the destabilization of vital functions of society, including government, and causing serious fear in the population. The judge said Mr. Breivik had admitted carrying out the attacks but had not pleaded guilty to the charges. Judge Hager had earlier ruled that the hearing should be held behind closed doors. He had said, "It is clear that there is concrete information that a public hearing with a suspect present could quickly lead to an extraordinary and very difficult situation in terms of the investigation and security." There had been concern among many Norwegians that Mr. Breivik would use the hearing to deliver a speech seeking to justify his actions. Instead, Judge Hager summarized Mr. Breivik's words in his post-hearing statement. The judge said Mr. Breivik had argued that he was acting to save Norway and Europe from Muslim colonization. The gunman had said his operation was not aimed at killing as many people as possible, but he wanted to create a greatest loss possible to Norway's governing Labour Party, which he accused of failing the country on immigration. The bomb in Oslo targeted buildings connected to the Labour Party government, and a youth camp on Utøya Island was also run by the party. In addition to those killed, at least 76 people were injured in the attacks. The latest update is police announced on Monday that they had overcounted the number of people slain in the shooting spree on the island and were lowering the confirmed death toll from 86 to 68. The overall number by death in the attack now stand for 76 instead of 93. Now we have a phone interview from a journalist in Norway, Mr. Ketil B. Stenstrid.
Norway is known around the world as being a peaceful nation. The man who carried out the twin attacks was a Norwegian citizen. What do you think was his motive in the attack?
Well, I could just basically direct you to the quotes that Judge Kim Hager read out as he was handed his sentence. And obviously, Mr. Breivik, the assailant, is a right-wing fundamentalist because he said the following. The objective for the attacks was to hand people a powerful message. The accused wanted to cause the Labour Party as much damage as possible so that recruitment would be limited in the future. The operation was not about killing as many as possible, but to provide a significant signal that simply could not be misunderstood. Because as long as the Labour Party maintains their ideological line of politics, whereby they deconstruct Norwegian culture and mass import Muslims, they must be held accountable for treason. One cannot allow one's country to be colonized by Muslims. Now, this is what the judge read out, and this has been working as his motive, and the information came from interrogation with police.
Right.
Right, and with these teenagers targeted specifically on the youth camp, can we possibly say that they were targeted because they were a political affiliation, because the island was holding a political summer camp for youth?
Oh, absolutely. It's been very clear that he targeted the Labour Party, first in the Oslo bombing, which hit the main offices where the government is located, and our government is governed by the Labour Party. And then he proceeded to the island where the Labour Party had its annual summer camp with 650 youths. So obviously he really wanted to hurt the Labour Party and its future representatives, as he said.
What about the building that he bombed? Did it somehow symbolize any significant meaning to the political affiliation at all?
Absolutely. I mean, Mr. Breivik, the blasts went off at the very epicenter of Norwegian politics. This is where the Prime Minister's office is. This is where most of the prominent ministers are located, and the entire area, including a street called Akersgata, where the main newspapers are, is clearly all about the power of Norway.
Right. Can we conclude that he acted alone, or was there anyone else that helped him with these twin attacks?
Well, news is just emerging that police, through Interpol, have arrested a person in Poland, in Wrocław, in the south of Poland. And apparently, according to reports, police in Poland acted on instructions from Norwegian police, and they brought this man into custody. And apparently, he's been charged as well with in relation to the Oslo bombings. And in the court hearing just a while back, the judge also read out that Mr. Breivik, in interrogation, has admitted that there are 2 major terrorist cells in his international network of right-wing extremists. So that is pretty extraordinary stuff that he came up with.
Now, Kato, can you tell us if has Norway have any problem with the far-right extremists in the past at all?
Not to this extent. Obviously, we have a history back in the 90s where there were emergence of youths, so-called skinheads, boot boys, whatever you want to call it. But that was, I mean, probably the worst thing that happened was the murder of a black Norwegian guy in Oslo in the 90s. But since then, it hasn't really been anything, at least not to this level. And the government of Norway issued the national threat assessment just in the winter, a few months back. And there they claim that right-wing extremism poses little or no threat to the security of our nation. So this is just a major shock that we never saw coming.
Right. Well, this tragic incident shocked Norway forever, and will it change Norway's security permanently?
Well, obviously, a lot of question marks are being raised about the security, about the police, about their response time and so forth. The fact that Mr. Breivik was allowed to massacre people for 1.5 hours without police coming. That is obviously very disturbing to know that fact. It's very disturbing to know the fact that Norwegian Special Forces did not have at hand an operative helicopter to bring squads down there to take him down. And there are a number of question marks that will definitely be assessed and debated in the weeks to come. Whether Into security, I don't know. I think that the overall focus right now is just to answer to these terrible crimes with more democracy, with more compassion, and just basically what this country is all about.
Now, could you break down what he called a 2083 European Declaration of Independence that has been attributed to Breivik? Like, just in short summary, what's it all about?
Well, first of all, I haven't read all of it. I just skimmed through it as I found a link early on
just,
Friday evening.
the main highlights and...
Yeah. Basically, it is a 1,500-page document, which could be the start of a book, written apparently by Mr. Breivik. He's taken full credit for that manifesto, and the European Declaration of Independence is basically, in my opinion, a pile of rubbish. But that's another story. He wants to assess the threats of what he calls and refers to as Eurabia. He's scared, and he fears that if right-wing extremists don't step up, if the governments of the West don't step up, he fears that Europe can turn into Eurabia, where there will be a Muslim majority, and he fears Islam, and he wants to work actively against Islam, and so forth. That's the main. However, he has also added some sort of diary in this manifesto in which he very clearly describes every single day of planning up until Friday, the 22nd of July, when the disaster struck. So everything is in there in detail. How he carried out the plans, how he made the bombs, what he did in April, how he rented a car. I mean, everything is in there. So obviously, it's very important to know that manifesto, this European Declaration of Independence, Mr. Breivik has worked on this document for 9 years, and everything is planned according to detail. He wanted to appear in court today in his uniform. He wanted to do everything in accordance with his plan, in accordance with the manifesto, and he's also explained to police that the fact that he carried out these attacks, these horrific attacks, was also some sort of marketing tool for his work.